ministerial school retreats when I was a student. And it has just really continued to remain and resonate with me throughout this journey called life. And so I welcome you to the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. We have declared here at Monterey that November is Gratitude Month. Now, we know that gratitude operates 24/7, 365 in all of our lives at all times. There are times where we set it aside to really take time to focus and honor. And so for those of you here in the center this morning, our gratitude tree could use some more leaves. And so I invite you after the service to just fill out a gratitude statement, and it's okay to do more than one leaf. But let's do that as a demonstration of, of how gratitude operates in our lives. And also last week, we invited the members of our virtual community to create a gratitude, some symbol of gratitude that would be a reminder of the blessings that are in your lives. And so we're inviting you to continue to do that, and then join us on Thanksgiving Day for our gratitude service from 10 to 10:30 via Zoom, 10 to 10:30 a.m. via Zoom on Thanksgiving Day, where we will share our gratitude expressions. And so continuing our November series, The Mundane, the Sacred, and the Profane, Oh My, today we are exploring three aspects of the sacred as connection, the sacred as mindset, and the sacred as action. And I saw this quote from Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith that really resonated with me, and I thought it was appropriate not only for our talk today, but appropriate for where we find ourselves in the world of effect and the conditions that are happening all around us. We are wired for love, says Dr. Michael. We are wired for peace. We are wired for joy. We are not wired for racism, bigotry, or greed. Those things are learned and taught and are products of a mindset that has been hijacked by hate and separation. And this is an excerpt from the Agape Spiritual Center Sunday service on October the 29th of 2023. In the teachings of Science of Mind, we learn this about the sacred, and we start with the definition of the sacred, usually a dictionary definition of the sacred. It is defined as something that is dedicated or highly valued and important, something that is set aside and set apart from everyday life. What if we could approach the sacred from a new angle? What if, instead of being seen as something reserved for certain expressions or places or times or events, like the nice dishes, the nice china that sits in the cabinet, or if it's like mine, it's nicely packaged in its little containers so that it doesn't get dusty. What about the outfit that we've set aside for a special occasion, and yet it is suitable for everyday wear? I'm seeing some smiles, some resonating with this. What about our nice linens that we set aside for when guests come, but we don't honor ourselves by using them for ourselves and treating ourselves to the beauty and the luxury and the grace and the gratitude that the universe continually provides for us? What if we embraced the sacred and the connection to all that it is? To recognize the sacred is found in all things because it is all things requires that we cultivate a mindset that is led by intention and brought forth into an active, mindful, and engaging energy. The adventure to cultivate this mindset is our ability to be open and to express our awareness to this reality and the sacredness in both the expected and the unexpected. We find sacredness in all places because it is in all things, both that which is expected and unexpected. Like with gratitude, we give thanks for that which is unexpected that shows up in our lives, and that which is ordinary or routine, sometimes we don't see it. So this is an invitation during this time to be mindful of the gratitude that is all around us, that it continually shows itself. Ernest Holmes writes this in Living the Science of Mind on page 5, paragraph 5. The spirit is both an overdwelling and indwelling presence. We are immersed in it, and it flows through us as our very life. It's like the example that I used last week from the 23rd Psalm that says, "Goodness and mercy follow me all the days of my life." So it is with the Spirit. It is this indwelling and overdwelling presence. We are immersed in it, and it flows through our daily lives. We can't escape from it because it is who we are. It is what we is. It is who we are. The sacred is not something that is found in a far-off dream or something separate from us. When we allow ourselves to move past the surface things, we begin to see the sacredness transformed into every activity of our life. And I share with you the view of the sacred from some other faith traditions. From the Native American tradition, Black Elk, a Sioux holy man, writes, "I was seeing in a sacred manner the shapes of all things in spirit, and the shape of all things that must live together like one being. And I saw the sacred hoop of my people was only one of many hoops that made one circle, wide as daylight and straight, and in the center grew one mighty flowering tree to shelter all the children from one mother and one father." And from the tradition of Confucianism, Confucius writes this, "Yin and yang, male and female, strong and weak, rigid and tender, heaven and earth, light and darkness, thunder and lightning, cold and warmth, the interplay of opposite principles constitutes the universe." So we need that balance. We tend to favor that which feels good, or that which we identify as positive. We tend to lean more into that and ignoring what we would identify as negative. However, the yin and the yang, the opposites, are a part of who we are, and is a part of our living in this daily experience called life. And it is through the use of our spiritual principles that we learn to identify that which is expanding our consciousness in both that which is called negative and that which is called positive. And from Hinduism, this piece from Hindu wisdom, "Your real self is identical to the ultimate energy of which all things in the universe are a manifestation of." Our real self is identical to the ultimate energy, which we identify as spirit, of which all things are made manifest in the universe. And now let us explore these three aspects of the sacred. The sacred as connection. It's easy to see the sacred in our contemplative practices, such as meditation, deep reflection, or our inner work. In these moments, we experience what can be almost palatable because our reality, our own individual divinity and connection to all things becomes highlighted. So this is the sacred as connection. This feeling of connection leads us to categorize such experiences and activities as sacred. The reality is that this connection can be felt just as easily as walking in nature, riding a mountain trail, dancing to our favorite music, engaging in meaningful conversations. These examples and many more serve as a conduit for connection It's embracing all that there is. In the sacredness of these moments, which shines through, is an invitation to step beyond our literal and metaphorical four walls and to nurture the awareness of our connection to the sacred in any given moment. Secondly, we view the sacred as a mindset. Last week, we identified that the very nature of our brain is to label and to categorize. It can take quite a bit of unlearning and intention to step out of this evolutionary marvel. As we begin to look around beyond the surface and appearance of things in search of truth, beauty, and awareness, we begin to make steps toward developing a new mindset, a new paradigm, and an expanded worldview of what is sacred. This shift creates an expansive view of ourselves, of others, and the world. It calls us to lean into life and to operate from a new vantage point and to explore the sacred in both expected and unexpected ways. Here's an example. Think of a time where you may have overlooked something in your experience, but then something ignites within you and you pay attention to this area of your life. Through this new lens, if you will, the label sacred that once was reserved for meditation cushions starts to be found in sweeping the porch, brushing our teeth, and maybe even doing the laundry. This shift becomes a catalyst, empowering us to observe our lives in a constant experience of the sacred. Again, from Living the Science of Mind on page 96, paragraph 7, Ernest Holmes offers this: we are compelled to think of the spirit either as part from us or within us. If apart from us, there is no way to find it. If within us, there is no escaping the divine fact. Unfoldment and not search is what we need. Unfoldment, relying on that which is within, listening with the inner ear to that which is calling us forward, and not searching is what we need. And thirdly, the spirit is action. The sacred is action. The spirit is action. The sacred is action also. The sacred also is aspects of life that stir the energy and passion of activity within us. So again, it's like stirring that pot, but we're stirring the pot from the aspect of the sacred. We're not stirring the pot in the opposite direction, if you will. Although I'm thinking of when I'm cooking, I stir the pot in both directions. There may be in our intention, our interactions with others, call for us to care for those who are marginalized. Sometimes our action shows up as a dedication to a cause or to a movement towards our own personal transformation and that which we bring to contribute to the collective evolution. So our action is an invitation to be mindful of and to be aware of what is really speaking to us at the heart level, and then to move forward in an activity or an action that involves that. The sacred is saying yes to what we are called to say yes to, stepping out into the unknown and bringing our authentic selves into the activity of life. In essence, this moment is the flow that life becomes, and it can be one of our most sacred acts, to breathe in, to breathe out, and to move in ways that speak to our connection of all that there is. This is a spiritual call to spiritual activism. to social activism, to be aware of and to engage in those activities that call forward the best that is within us. Because when we call forward the best that is within us, this is our gift to the world. This is our gift to our communities. This is our gift to our families. This is our gift to each other. Eckhart Tolle says it this way: to do everything in a sacred manner means to do everything fully in the state of presence. And the presence is the awareness that God is all there is. And so, summing all of this up, we are to become aware of all of the sacred places in our lives. The sacred is not a static object. It becomes an activity or even an ideology. In the very action of our lives, it becomes a way of seeing ourselves and seeing others moving in the world. We see through new eyes, the new eyes of spirit, the new eyes of connection, the new eyes of understanding. And this new understanding urges us to ask, what has to shift in my awareness to view all things as sacred? What is to shift in my awareness that invites me to view all things as sacred? What is calling us to a deeper understanding of wholeness and its all-encompassing reach? Thich Nhat Hanh says, each thought, each action in the sunlight of awareness becomes sacred. Each thought, each action in the sunlight of awareness becomes sacred. And so our call to action this week, if you're willing to engage, is to set an intentional time throughout the week to observe the world, to observe your experiences, your interactions, and even yourself through the eyes of sacredness. It's shifting. It's that shift from seeing the world of effect as a place of war and crime and poverty and angst and political division. It's that shift to seeing that these are behaviors, and underneath these behaviors, there's the divine that is expressing in all. And that is our call, to see the divine, to look beyond the conditions, to turn away from the conditions, and to be in that sacred place of our own beingness, knowing that God is all that there is. And as we do that, notice the shift that takes place in our body and in our minds. Let us now say together our weekly affirmation. I caught you off guard. That's okay. Let's just love up our tech team that lovingly supports us each Sunday. We can do a call and response. Oh, there it is. Let us say this together. I open myself up to the adventure of finding the sacred in the unexpected. I open myself up to the adventure of finding the sacred in the unexpected. And now let us pray together. As we go within to that place of stillness, recognizing the sacred is all there is, because the sacred is just another aspect of the divine, another aspect of God, another aspect of the totality of all life. And so as I recognize the sacred as a part of my life, as a part of the totality of who I am, I recognize this for all people and for all beings everywhere. knowing that the sacred makes no distinction based on the labels that are created for separation and for identification and for all things that are not necessarily related to spirit. The sacred in me and the sacred in all people is that divine aspect of spirit, and we're all united in this place of wholeness. And so I speak my word this morning in joyful gratitude for recognizing the sacred in all of the ways that it shows up in my life. For knowing that the gift of the sacred is an expression of the joy and the excitement and the fulfillment of each adventure. Knowing that as I look for the unexpected, as I welcome and open and embrace the unexpected, that I do not discount the expected, that I give thanks for all that there is. And as I speak this word for myself, I speak this word also for all beings and all things right here, right now. Knowing that there is only one thing happening, and that is the unity of all life, expressing in its fullness, expressing as the individualized creations that each one brings into this time-space continuum. Knowing that all life flows into the eternal nature of beingness. I speak a word of blessing for those who are experiencing the transitions of a loved one. That loved one, that friend, that confidant, that relative, that close family member that has stepped off of the mortal plane into infinity, into eternality, knowing that each time there's a memory of this beloved one, that they live on in our hearts and in our lives. Speaking a word this morning for divine right livelihood in the lives of all, knowing that everything that is required to live a magnificent and an opulent life is provided right here, right now. No struggle, no more struggle, no more strife. All things are provided right here, right now. I speak my word for those who are experiencing a physical condition, a diagnosis, and remembering that the diagnosis is only an opinion of you. It is not the truth of you. And so the truth is that we are whole, perfect, and complete, a perfect idea in the mind of God. And at the same time, living in this human experience, being a spiritual being, there are aspects of the human that propel us into the next dimension of life. Again, knowing that all is well. And so for this time together, for the recognition of the sacred in all that there is, I am eternally grateful. Releasing this word back into that law, which always says yes, I just allow it to be so. And if any of what I have said resonates with you in any way, I invite you to affirm it with me as we say together, and so it is. And so it is. I'd like to take this opportunity just as a reminder for those of you who are here in the center. We do have a prayer chest. I invite you to fill out a prayer request form and leave it in the prayer chest for the ministers and the practitioners to be in prayer support for whatever it is that you're experiencing in your life. And remember, we appreciate praying with you for joyful outcomes, as well as those outcomes that are less than joyful right in this moment, knowing that truth is being revealed. And it is now time for us to share in the abundant overflow and the circulation of the good, otherwise known as offering time. Just as a quick reminder for those of you who are here in the center, we do have a donation box that is on the glass table in the center, and we invite you to leave your donations there. Also, the current issue of the Science of Mind magazine. And remember, there are now double issues for November and December. There will be double issues from this point forward. The double issue is $10, but you're getting 2 months worth. And so there are some copies there, and I invite you to pick up a copy, and you may leave the donation in the little kiosk where the Science of Mind magazines are. And for those of you who are viewing online, just a quick reminder that you may send in your donations to the center, and our address, if you could get that back up on the screen for me. I think most of us know it by now. Anyway, the center address is 400 West Franklin Street, Monterey, California, 93940. We have a text to give, thank you, 831-246-9694. And you may also donate online, montereycsl.org. And so to those in our Facebook and YouTube community, just a couple of quick reminders. We will do part 2 of the Quick Start program. This is an introduction to New Thought and the teachings of Science of Mind and religious science. Part 2 will take place on next Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon Pacific time, both here in person at the center and also on Zoom. And the Zoom number is on the screen. So I invite you, this is a different Zoom number from the Sunday service. So use this Zoom number to participate. If you missed part 1, it's okay. We can do part 2, and we will be offering the course again after the beginning of the year. So if you missed it this time around, it's okay. We just love you to participate. And then also a reminder of our Thanksgiving Day service, which will be from 10 a.m. until 10:30 via Zoom only, and we will use the center Zoom on Thanksgiving Day morning, where we express our gratitude with each other and celebrate this joyful time of the season. And so we say good morning to those in our Facebook community, our Facebook family, and our YouTube family. And we invite you to return next week. We will continue our November series, The Mundane, the Sacred, the Profane, and Oh My. And our talk next Sunday will be the Profane. So we'll have some interesting dialogue around that. And remember to like, share, and comment, and spread the word of the good news that God is love and God is all that there is. We love you. God bless you.